Coach Campbell, where are you going with all that stuff? Who'd you get flowers from? Colin, what a great guy. Riley, are you ready to go here? All right. You know, I don't know.
Somebody mistook Stacy one time because I did get some. I don't think
well, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. I'm kind of pinch hit for Nate today. He's got a little bit of a back issue, so his doctor was able to get him in today to get looked at. So we had to jump in quick. So we're going to start, obviously, by thanking Paulie's for sponsoring today's lunch, Hardrocker Sports Lunch today. And we're going to lead off here with Steve Johnson to talk about cross country.
Thanks, Joel. Well, it's a big week for us. We get to go down to the RMAC Championships this weekend. And I say down, but we're actually going up to 7,700 feet of elevation up in Gunnison, Colorado. We're heading out tomorrow morning. We'll spend the night in Denver, work out at Washington Park, which is the site for our region meet. Give us a chance to check out the course there. Take care of a little business on the way down, I guess. And then we'll head up to Gunnison, check out the course there that day on Friday, and then we'll race. First race is at 11 o'clock on Saturday with the men running first. You know, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a big challenge for us, but if we can hit on all cylinders, we've got a pretty good shot, I think, at a top 10 team finish on both sides. And that's really the thing we've been shooting for. One of the things we've been preaching to our kids from day one is, yes, it's 7,700 feet, but outside of two teams in the conference, everybody's going up in elevation. So everybody's dealing with the same conditions. We've just got to come in and make sure that we do what we need to do and what we've trained to do to be ready to go. You know, there's no question on the RMAC that it's going to be tough to crack the top 10. They've got 7 men's teams ranked in the top 10 in the region, 6 women's teams ranked in the top 10 in the region. So it's going to be a pretty good battle for us, but it's going to be a great opportunity for us to see where we stack up against some of the best teams in the country. Are there any questions I can answer?
Steve, tell us a little bit about what you've done all season long to get your kids ready for that higher elevation.
Yeah, one of the things that we've always done, that our program has done since Coach Schaefer took it over, is that on Tuesdays we try to get up into the hills for a medium long run, and that's something that we continue. And then the other thing that we've been doing is we've tried to get up on any Saturdays that are open. We get up as high as we can go and try to get something done. This last weekend, for example, we went up to the highest point on the Mickelson Trail. It's about 6,300 feet of elevation, and we put them through their paces a little bit. We had them the guys did a 6K time trial, and the ladies did a 4K time trial. We ran it chase style to have a little bit of fun with it. So what we did was we took their finish times from the previous meet out of Gillette and staggered them and made them have to run people down, try and pick people up all along the way, with the idea that if we hit it right, they all finished together. And we didn't quite all finish together, but we were pretty darn close, especially on the women's side. So, you know, and that gave them a pretty good idea where they're going to feel, what they're going to feel like 3/4 of the way through that race. And I think with that, we came out of that feeling like we really got something accomplished. Now we just have to come in and know that it's going up, you know, 1,400 more feet. It's going to be just a little bit tougher, but it's very doable for us to run hard and run well.
What's the course like in Gunnison?
That's the course there. We don't know much about it other than it's flat. Sounds like most of it is dirt path, so should be pretty fast. At least as fast as it can be at 7,700 feet. Yeah. Other questions?
What time are the races?
11 for the men and 11:45 for the women. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. I was just in Gunnison last week, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for our RMAC meetings, and there's snow on the top of the mountains up there, so it's pretty right now. It's real pretty. Beautiful drive between Denver and Gunnison, but interesting. Good luck. Well, now we've got Tiffany McCampbell. Coach McCampbell ended her season up at Black Hills last night in some very hard-fought matches. I'll let her elaborate more on it. But we've got women's volleyball. Coach Tiffany McCampbell.
We played last weekend. We went to the College of Coastal Georgia tournament down by Brunswick, Georgia, which is a very beautiful area for those who haven't been there. It was finished 3-1 for the weekend. We played some okay teams. We played a couple really good teams. And so I was really happy with the weekend as far as being able to finish 3-1 going into this Black Hills State game last night. And then I was a little concerned just when our team showed up. We had a lot of bags under our eyes, and I had talked to Coach Paula about this a little bit Monday night, that I felt like we were kind of nearing the end. We were kind of starting to kind of taper off a little bit. We just looked a little bit tired, but we talked to the team a lot about how it's hard to play at Black Hills State. It's a rivalry game, all the things we've talked about before. That we wanted to try to really finish this season off right, and I felt like we did some good things last night. I felt like we were sluggish at times. We had 2 set point opportunities to be able to win that second set before we could go on and win that set 3, and we just couldn't finish. And so, you know, we saw some good things out of this season. Brad will show some highlights here in a little bit, and I want to talk about our lone senior on our roster. But we really talked with this team last night that even though they necessarily weren't happy about winning, you know, I think coaching staff especially, we take losses to Black Hills State very hard. I know I did. I didn't sleep a whole lot about it. But, you know, I still talked to them that we were so incredibly proud of this group. And I just talked a lot with them last night of, you know, you're 13-11, you have your first winning season since 2011, and you got to really focus on the positives that have come forward that way. You know, you've got 1 senior on your roster, you're going into the RMAC in 2015. I just really impressed upon them how proud I was of this group. I can't believe we didn't have any major injuries this year, and it's one thing I was really worried about with having 12 on our roster. We had 11 practice players because we did redshirt 1 student athlete, and to have 11 players is literally you're waking up every morning going, don't let anything happen today. Don't let anything happen to Sam Johnson. Don't let anything happen to our setter. And I'm just happy that we made it through the season, and for practice 1 until date last night, I thought we immensely improved with this team, and I'm so proud of them because just the energy and the team chemistry that they had this year, it's a great group. This is one of the years that I've enjoyed, absolutely hands down, probably one of the most that I've enjoyed here as a Hardrocker. It's just a good group of hardworking young ladies. So we really talked about just the positives in this team, and to be able to win 13 games just is a really good thing for this group. Brad's got some highlights. The highlights we've got are from a team of Wesleyan College. They're a Division III team in Georgia. I will tell you, this is not the best team we've played ever, but they're a good little team. We wanted to show that highlight that Sam doesn't just beat teams with power. So a couple overpasses here where Michaela Reese, outside hitter, who's a sophomore, she finished 2nd on our team with kills this year, and I'm really excited to see where we can take Michaela in 2015 and 16 as far as being an all-around player. With that magnitude, we had a lot of youngsters on the floor this year. That was Jenna Cruiser, a sophomore outside hitter that you guys saw speak early this year. And then towards the end of this match, towards the end of the weekend in Georgia, we got to play a lot of our role players. Outside hitter right here, Kayla Hendricks, she's from Liberty, Missouri. She got to play a lot this past weekend, and I think it was great to kind of have some of these young players build some confidence as we get through the stretch here. That was freshman middle, Emily Newton. And just be able to have them add some energy and bring some enthusiasm to this group. I think as role players this year, they did a great job. Some highlights from last night's game that Brad had, that's Emily Newton again. She's a freshman middle hitter. She ended up 2nd on our team with attacking percentage. She's going to really continue to grow for us in this middle position as she and Sam both go into the 2015 season that way. Jenna Cruiser also plays on the right side a little bit for us as well, and I think Jenna's really going to kind of mold and move into a leadership role next year. And that was Carson Garcia, our senior on our roster. Kristen Johnson played right side for us, number 13 this year. She's obviously Sam Johnson's sister. She really struggled with some shoulder injuries this year, so we're looking forward to some time off to kind of see where we can go. And obviously that's Sam, good ball to finish on there. And you know, I wanted to talk about Carson a little bit. I talked to her last night that so fortunate to have a 4-year span of a 4-year starter. Towards her end of her freshman year, she missed 1 game due to a shoulder injury, but other than that, she started every single game in a 4-year career. And she's finishing just 50 sets shy of 4,000 assists. She's got over 1,200 digs in her career. And for a player that we recruited to be an NAIA setter, she's really been a great leader for this program. And you know, it was a nice moment for me last night to be able to talk to her about just how proud I was of her to be able to just take this program. She's got a winning record in the past 4 years. She's 57 and 53 over her 4-year career, and just a great leader and intense competitor. And so I'm just happy that we could take a huge step forward this year. When we sat down on paper and talked about what we wanted out of this team, the hands-down goal was to be above 500 and then to be able to move forward in the RMAC, especially with a smaller roster. Like I said, we had some concerns, but overall I think we've done a good job as a coaching staff. I think our kids have done above and beyond what we've asked of them this year as far as, like I said, chemistry and expectations, and they've really kind of picked up their level of play. Our youngsters, our freshman group has added a lot of versatility with us. So I'm just excited to kind of see where we can go with this program and take some time off and just keep continuing to improve and move into my 7th season next fall. Does anybody have any questions for me? Scott.
As you move into next season, how's your recruiting?
Good. We're going to sign 2 kids next week that we'll talk about. We're hoping to possibly move that number to 4, maybe 5. Obviously, finding a really good setter is going to be a huge priority for us, but the 2 kids that we're going to sign next week are going to add some immense depth to our program. And just having 11 players returning and 5 starters is going to be huge for us that way. So just trying to be unique with our training. I like the small roster, I really do, but as I've talked, it worries me, but you know, we're going to do what we can because we want to be in the top half of the RMAC and we want to be competitive. So do what we can. Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany. Right next, we've got Coach Henry. He's going to come up and give us a little bit of a recap of last week and tell us what's happening with the men's basketball program.
All right, just a recap of our South Dakota State game. You know, it was a long trip. I talked to Tiffany actually this morning, and she said that exact same thing to me. Everybody looks tired, and a long few days for them. And I said the same exact thing to her, and we only had 1 trip. So it was definitely a long trip for us. Got up early in the morning, drove all the way there, played a game, drove all the way back, had practice the next day, had practice Saturday. So our last couple practices, I haven't felt that have been, you know, top notch, so to speak, especially this time of year where you can't get away with having average practices. So we talked a little bit about that last night with our guys, that we need to make sure that, you know, we so-called bring it every day to practice, and we'll keep them short and sweet, but we got to get something out of it. And so we kind of ran into that, I think kind of that jet lag, so to speak, for us on that long trip. And I explained to them our schedule is, you know, we're playing 5 games in 7 days. You know, if we can't handle 1 game like that, you know, we're probably in trouble, but it does. It takes a toll on our kids. Obviously, you know, I'm not spring chicken anymore either, so it takes a toll on the coaches and those kind of things too, but definitely the kids. As far as that game goes, you know, we were down a bunch in the first half. You know, 2 of our strengths are our 2 post kids, all of our post kids actually, but 2 of our posts, one of them, Andrew, which I think we even talked about the other day, is we got to keep him out of foul trouble. And sure enough, he's got 2 fouls in 2 minutes, and we pulled him out for the first half. You know, so he doesn't play, and that's a guy that, you know, we got to get, you know, double from every game for us to be competitive. And for him not to be in there, but I wanted to show him too that, you know, we're not going to play him with 3 fouls. Obviously, you know, we don't need to get down, you know, 10, 15 points and not play a guy and not put him back in because of falls, but yet hopefully he learns that stuff, and you know, it's an adjustment for him where he's in the starting lineup now, and he's got to make that adjustment. The other one was Connor Koulis. Didn't have a great first half for us, but he also hasn't played for a year and a half. And I think he was nervous as all can be, to be honest. So, you know, you don't even think of that. You see a guy, and you know, all I remember from him is, you know, dominating teams. You know, so all of a sudden he gets in there, and I kind of forget that was, you know, whatever, 18 months ago that I last got to see him play. And I talked to him a little bit after that, and sure enough, he's just like, yeah, it's great to be on the floor. Second half was a different story. You know, we did a lot of good things. We got new offense in. We got, you know, only practiced for 4 or 5 days with our offensive side of it. You know, we could tell that we definitely had spent more time on our defensive side. Our defense, I thought, did a lot of good things. Especially last year, we really struggled guarding the basketball. This year, you know, South Dakota State wasn't exactly the most athletic team we're going to see this year. They had bigger, stronger guards. You know, their guards were all 6'4", 6'5", where we'll see 6'1", 6'2" Jets. You know, so it's a little bit different matchup for us, but we did a good job on the defensive end, offensive end. You know, I thought we really struggled in the first half and didn't do this and didn't do that, and then shoot, I watched the tape on the way home, and we were close. I mean, we're a lot closer right now than we have been even in the past when you try running the offense that we run, and it just takes time with a lot of new guys, and it's not an easy offense to run. So. But anyway, overall, I was pleased. It was nice to get out and get playing somebody else. You know, nice atmosphere there, good game to just open up with and get the jitters out. We do actually play Friday here again. We have what's called a fundraiser game where some local talent. At least they think they're talented. We'll see. They're talking trash all over town, but some Division I guys, a bunch of guys that played in college. You know, it's going to be a good matchup for us. We're going to continue to do what we did down at South Dakota State, play everybody, make sure we get a lot of minutes. In fact, limit some of our minutes, not on purpose necessarily with Andrew, but he won't get a ton of minutes again. Jordan Dick, Kelvin Thomas, some of those guys have been in our program that just don't necessarily need the time as much as I need to see some of those young guys who we're going to have as our, you know, we try to have our top 10 kind of thing after this weekend. So we'll get a lot of good looks from those guys, so it'll be a good game for us to go against some good competition and fun for everybody in town. You know, we're just going to open it up to the public. If somebody wants to come and see us play, see some of those good players. I mean, the Adam Templetons of the world that we read about when they play in high school, the Matt Martins of the world that, you know, every day their names in the paper, and then they go off to college and, you know, have great careers, and now they're back in Rapid City, which is awesome to be back in our community and then have an opportunity to come out and play. You know, obviously talented guys is good for our guys as well. So that's kind of our stretch. We do open up on the 14th and 15th at home, and then go on the road after that. But we're looking forward to those home games, and those are games that we got to be ready for, and use some of these other games in the past to get ready for that. So, any quick questions for me? Yes, sir.
You know, I always question.
I love your questions too.
Basically, since Nate Jacobson left for 4 years ago, you had a lot of inconsistency and struggle at the point. What are you doing this year?
Well, actually, after Nate left, we had a foreign kid that came in, and he led us to 17 wins. We had some issues with the NCAA, and he was a prep school kid, and we thought we were going to try to get, well, we did. We tried to get him back for that next year as he was just a junior. Planned on him being back when we're doing our recruiting and those kind of things, and I found out late, you know, even into June or end of May, that the NCAA wasn't going to clear him, just play another year, and so that definitely put us behind last year. But realistically, last year was our one inconsistent at the point, and we brought in a couple kids late. And one of them still, you know, on the roster, and we've actually moved him to the wing with Eric Seabury, and now he's actually playing pretty well, and with what we're doing offensively, we're looking at moving him back to the point. And the big thing with us and our point guard, and we've got a couple other guys that are challenging for that spot right now, is just taking care of the darn ball. I mean, it's just, you know, we got guys out there this year that can do some things on the offensive end, and we just can't turn it over and give up those, you know, extra possessions to those teams. And then the other thing is just keeping guys in front, and that's where we were really inconsistent last year, and some of that had to do with our guys, but to be completely honest, we are playing, you know, mid-major, so to speak, Division I quickness type point guards over and over and over down in Texas, and we couldn't handle it. I mean, we tried everything, and it wasn't just our point guard's fault, it was everybody. We just didn't do a very good job of guarding the ball, and that's where a lot of our inconsistency inconsistency came as far as I'm concerned. I wasn't even as worried about the offensive end as just, you know, containing them defensively. So in that mix, to answer your question, we got guys in our program right now that are hopefully going to get us back to that point. Now we got new guys in the program. One of them's a true freshman. You're going to have the inconsistency of that. He's definitely capable athletic-wise, knowledge of the game, all those kind of things, but holy cows, he's a freshman. And he had, in fact, Coach Glenn, you know, gave him crap after the game that he was one turnover away from setting the first game collegiate record, and he had 6 turnovers from us. Well, that collegiate record was actually set from Coach Glenn with 7, but his first college game. So, you know, they're giving each other a hard time, but that's something that we got to definitely clean up in that turnover area. Anything else?
What time's the game Friday?
It is at 6 o'clock. Yep, and it's free to come in. It's a fundraiser game for our program, so we'll have a, you know, offering or whatever if you want to pay to get in kind of thing. But otherwise, everybody's welcome. We'd love to have you. In fact, it's better for us to have a little bit more of a crowd. It kind of gets us going, and you know, just totally doing it to get us on our floor and understanding how we're going to play and even warm up. So, what else? Tim, do you have anything?
Well, you talked about changes in offense. What are you doing different?
You know, we're still running our motion offense, and that's the challenge that we have. When I first came here, I'm a motion guy, and when I first came here, you know, Coach Welsh, I was assistant coach under Coach Welsh, and told him I run motion, and he just kind of looked at me like, you'll never be able to run motion with these guys, because just the way they think, and motion offense, basically what it is it gives you a little bit more freedom. You go one way, the defense goes that way, or you go the opposite of whatever the defense does. In theory, that's what motion offense is. So you have to read screens, you have to come off of a screen. If he goes this way, you go that way. And it takes some time, there's no doubt about it, and you have to recruit to that. Well, we have engineers here, and his big thing was A plus B needs to equal C for these kids. And that's the furthest thing from the case with motion offense. A plus B equals C, D, E, and F a lot of times, and you need to make that right read. So we had to challenge with that. My first couple years here, we finally recruited in guys to be able to do that. So we're still doing some of that, but with Connor Koulis needing to be on the floor quite a bit, very good around the basket, doing some things that way. Typically, we've run what's called 4-out motion, and basically 4 guards on the floor and able to do the same kind of stuff, where we're able to drop Connor into the post a little bit more and do some things around the basket instead of running around the perimeter. Now, different lineups, Kelvin Thomas, some guys where we have so-called stretch 4s and those kind of things, they're able to stay around the 3-point line, and we'll go back to what we have been doing in the past too. So yeah, that basically the same kind of concept, but different spots basically to where they are, and we're kind of reeling them in as far as giving them things to do instead of just a so-called free-for-all for them. Sure, that made a lot of sense for all you football guys that are sitting here. I'm trying to explain kind of sort of without taking too much time. Well, the basketball thing, I think Nate's going to put on, we do a basketball kind of introduction as we've done in the past, and invite a lot of community people. I think we're planning on doing that next week, otherwise the following week, whether it's here, at Marco's, at B-Dubs, we'll let you all know, but then I can really talk some basketball and feel like I'm making sense to at least a couple people. Okay, anything else? All right, thank you very much.
All right, now we've got women's basketball and Coach Larson.
That's the best introduction I've ever had, Bill. Thank you. Appreciate it. Follow up with Coach Henry. That trip to Brookings was really good for us. There was a couple questions last week about, what are you going to get out of that experience? Well, the biggest thing was we told the kids, okay, if we don't rebound, we're going to get exposed. And I can't remember exactly how many offensive rebounds they had. We told them, if we turn it over, you're going to get exposed. And we actually had 20 turnovers, which is well below our season average last year, which is good. But I think SDSU scored on them every time. Okay, that's just because they're bigger, faster, stronger, and really good in transition. The third thing we told them is if we don't get back in conversion defense, you're going to get exposed. And well, They scored 70 points, and 59 of those points were off of offensive rebounds, our turnovers, and transition points. So that was good for those kids to see. You know, you can preach about it, but sometimes in one ear, out the other. They saw it, and like, oh, knows what he's talking about, I guess. So that was really good. The other thing is we defended well in the half court. We held 11 points in the half court. So that was nice. We did a lot of good things. You know, not, you take away the score, we did a lot of good things. We were able to run our offense in the half court when we were able to get into it at times. That was great to see. We were able to do some things defensively. We were turning them over a couple of times. Coach Paula made a great comment. She obviously played there, and she was looking down at their bench quite a bit. We would double team them or something like that, or take away one of their cuts. And she would see Coach Johnson kind of stomping around, you know, all angry. That's a nice little feather in our cap there for what we did. So there was a lot of good things we took away from that game. And the biggest thing is we really competed. You know, we competed hard. We didn't care that we were on, you know, a Division I team's floor, you know, in a big giant gym with video boards. We competed our tails off, and I was proud. I was really proud of our efforts and the way we hung in there and we kept fighting and we kept scrapping. I know their coaches afterwards were really impressed with the effort that we put forth. So very proud about that. And the nice thing is, we had 3 top-notch practices since we've been back, and those kids were able to realize, you know, we watched the film, we pointed out some errors that we got to improve upon, and also pointed out a lot of good things that we did. So watching that film was kind of a good eye-opener. We really got to pick it up in some of these areas to improve. And we took Friday off. Unlike the men's team, they practiced on Friday. We got back at 4 a.m., took the day off, practiced Saturday, Sunday. Had really good practices, and again this morning was, you know, again, 3 probably of our best practices of the year. So it's been good. And that's why that game was so beneficial for us. And the other thing I want to talk about, you know, it's good for us to get on the eastern half of the state. It really is. You know, I get upset. All my friends on East River over there, you know, just know nothing about the South Dakota snow mines and what we have going on here. I know Coach Paula. We're recruiting a lot of kids over there. I don't know if any of them came, but hey, we're playing at Brookings in Frost Arena. Come check us out. That was big. You know, we got to get our brand out there in the East River a little bit more. And I know Joel and Nate were doing good work over there. So that was big for our athletic department as a whole. You know, not just, you know, men's and women's basketball. So that was a good experience. Yeah, just couldn't be any happier with the entire process that we had there. And you know, we're having a good week of practice. Any other questions for me? Yes, Larry.
Is Mary going to be able to play?
We're still working on that. We got a doctor's appointment coming up. It's December, you know, so we're a long ways from any kind of answer to that. You know, as of right now, we're really leaning towards a red shirt with her, which is fine. She's fine with it, and really I'm okay with it too, just because, you know, when we were recruiting, you know, we talked about being independent this year and then, you know, having 3 years of RMAC play for her after this, and she's excited about that. So we would have her for 3 years of, you know, conference play, which is good. That'll be a nice player for us. When she's a senior, I'll look pretty smart doing that. I will.
Didn't she play at Southern Utah though?
Yeah, she was a transfer from Southern Utah.
So she has 3 years.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else? I know if I'm waiting for you, I know.
Offense, Ryan?
What's that?
Do you run the same offense?
Yeah, we are running the same offenses. We've tweaked them a little bit. You know, Coach Henry, you know, best analogy ever, you know, about engineers and running a motion offense. And I'm a motion guy. I'm also stubborn, and you know, we're going to run what I want to run and like to run, which is good. You know, we implemented what we wanted to do last year. I talked at length with Coach Collins. You know, your first year coaching in a program, you know, you got to establish what you want to do. You know, it would make no sense for us to start over, you know, scrap what we did last year, you know, and basically start over. And that's one thing that we've really noticed. The returners this year, they're so much more comfortable in what we're doing. They look really good doing it. Not only are they just really improved players from, you know, lifting and getting in the gym and working on their individual game, but they know what we're doing, and they're really improved that way. But we have tweaked what we do to fit our personnel a little bit better, and just to be able to create more scoring opportunities for the kids. It may not look like what we did last year, I guarantee you that, because we'll score a lot more points. How about that? I guarantee you there. Anything else? No, I guarantee you. Congratulations, Coach, for taking Campbell on a great season. It's fun watching you guys. See you guys next week. Thank you.
All right, now we've got Joe Berger talking about men's soccer.
Thanks for having me. I know you guys missed me the last couple of weeks. We were on our 12-day tour of the Pacific Northwest, which was great. And I think we did a lot of growing on this trip. We played our first game on Thursday night 2 weeks ago against the #2 team in the country, Seattle Pacific, and they taught us a lot. But I think to see the team come together after that game and finally have some juniors finally take some ownership was good. It just reminds me of a quote that I read, and I'm not quite sure who said it, but you know, freshmen want to be liked, sophomores want to play, juniors want to start, but seniors want to win. And I think we finally see the juniors turning into seniors, because the next 3 games we had some really good Andreas Gow and Michael McGraw, and some of those guys gave some great leadership to those young guys on the field, which is something we've been starving for the last 2.5 years. So I thought that was good growth. And I think the one thing that we remember, we were always about growth and getting better and kind of going, but I thought we saw that. The other thing was kind of an interesting stat is that we scored 13 goals this year, and 11 of them are by our forwards, which is good. It's a good habit to have. Michael McGraw has 5, and a freshman, Sean Tabard, now has 6. He scored 2 goals against St. Martin's, and if Brad would like to show those now, that would be good. So we kind of capitalized. This is the first goal. This is just a good build-up. We fight it off. We end up winning it back. Oh, no, this was a mistake by them. Sean was able, just a little bit of effort, a little gutsy, and was able to tuck it away. We sit on the other side, so we were going the other way. And then the second one was, this is just good soccer by us. Keep the ball on the ground, a little bit of individual skill. We're able to slip in behind, and Sean just a good effort to get on the goal, slide in and get in there. This last weekend, we played Western Washington at their beautiful new facility that they had, and it was fantastic in a torrential downpour, as you always get in the Pacific Northwest. But we saw the growth of our guys. Again, we were able to play a lot of guys. Lane Schroeder probably had his best outing as a college freshman. Jake Smith was good. Eric Milbrain, a goalkeeper that's kind of been our backup goalie, really showed really well. So we're trying to get those guys in and get them valuable minutes as we move forward. And then we played a fantastic team from Simon Fraser, which really had our number this year. But we were able to compete with them and lost 3-0. But if you would see those guys play, that was a good result and a gutsy effort by our guys. So I'm really proud of what they're becoming and what they're turning into. I think I'd be remiss to say that this weekend is a little bit bittersweet for us as we end our time in the GNAC conference. And what a wonderful experience for me to work with those coaches and their conference, and then also to their coaches. What a great group of coaches and a quality soccer that has actually helped us in the long term grow our program. It's given the example of what we are striving to be in a soccer conference like that. I made a lot of good friends. We're lucky now that we get 2 close games that are non-conference games, which helps us out because Mary and Montana Billings will play probably every year, but they won't be conference games. And then we're also looking forward to reviving our interest because in the GNAC, you play those teams so many times. I mean, we played double round robins, we played all those teams 4+ times. We play Mary in the spring and Billings in the spring, play those guys so much time. So it'll be refreshing for our guys to go into the RMAC and see some different competition and really be able to compete. But we're really moving forward. It's an exciting time. You know, we're looking for a good, gutsy result. And I'm proud of our guys. I mean, the one thing that these kids have never done is quit. If you were at our practice last night, they fought hard, competed, represented everybody very well. You know, I'm disappointed because I want for them to see the fruit of their labors. and there's no doubt in my mind in the long term that they will. So I think it's a gutsy group. We definitely have the right guys. We just have to make sure that we keep developing them as players. So we're looking forward to ending our season in the GNAC on Saturday in Bismarck at 1 o'clock and then preparing for the RMAC at 15. So appreciate all your support. Any questions for me? Not all at once? Not all at once. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Joe. So, well, we've got our cleanup hitter here today, Coach Collins, coming off the big win this weekend. And just a reminder that we got a home game on Saturday. Salute to Services. Coach Collins, they did a nice commercial. Coach will maybe talk a little bit about Lewis Dortch, who followed them around a couple days this week, or last week maybe, for preparation for practice. Coach Stacy Collins.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, everybody, for coming out again. Certainly nice to go get a victory on the road. We make it as interesting as we can. Hopefully keep everybody on the edge of their seat. Because I tell you what, this is an interesting group. We were told control of that game in the first half. Played very, very sound football all the way around. Came out the third quarter, and it slipped on us. But I give our guys a lot of credit. We found a way to come back. A critical drive there at the end. A critical stop on Dixie State's last drive to hold them to a field goal. And we came out in overtime and had a little wrinkle on that actually we were going to start the second half with that double pass, and we had a bad snap, and we thought we had that all day. So it was a great wrinkle on that end, and finally luck came our way a little bit on that missed PAT. But it was an interesting one. The kid had 3 penalties on PAT earlier, and they kicked a 40-yard PAT to get it, and he misses one in overtime. But after the third pick dropped off our hands and went into theirs for a touchdown, I'll take whatever karma we can get at that point. But, good win. Brad, you got a couple cuts from the Dixie State game? This is our first touchdown. This is Trent buys some time here in space. Rashad Ridley, and those two become a very, very good combination on the offensive side. He breaks free, and we're able to go get over the top of their coverage. Nice job behind some time, and then with his backside post, he just wheels it up the field. Does a nice job one-on-one, gives us the lead here after Dixie State opened up with a field goal. Interesting weather down there. Usually it's pretty warm down there, and we hit a rainstorm and some wind, so it was a little bit cooler than normal at that place. The first time I played there was in 2008. It was 6 o'clock at night. It was 102 degrees. So good job with protection up front. Again, nice job of those two coming together, making the play. This next one's on our final drive right here. And we stalled out a lot in that second half. But boy, when it was gut check time and time to go, our offense did a tremendous job driving down the field. We get a one-on-one situation. Marcus Sanchez had another monster game, 110 yards receiving. That's a great one-on-one matchup to go up and get it and give us a chance. We went for 2 right here. And they called us on a legal shift, which was tough, but we went back, kicked the field goal, kicked the PAT, and took it into overtime. But that's a great catch by Marcus right there. Okay, first play overtime. Like I said, we were going to open up the second half of this play. We felt Danny Ziegler, slot receiver, he's also a high school quarterback for us. So we've had this double pass in, and he does a great job executing it. I felt like that ball was hanging up there forever on our end. And those make me more nervous than the Wham Bam ones, because that thing's out there for a long time. But great call, great execution by our guys, and we certainly had the momentum at that time. We have Southwest Baptist this weekend in the Salute to Services game, so certainly an opportunity for us to give the support to the people that give us the highest in support, our military, our fire department, and our police. So we're excited about that. Southwest Baptist is a very talented team. I believe they're a fully funded Division II program. Their head coaches, they've been this is his second year. They've got a lot of young players, but they are skilled. They run very well, and like a lot of teams we've seen, it's good Division II football. Their record's really not indicative of how talented they are, and they can throw the ball, they can play catch. You got a quarterback from your alma mater in Ellsworth, so we're 1-0 against your alma mater, so hopefully we can keep that thing going. But good football team coming in, and a great opportunity to come out on our Salute to Services game. Any questions that I can answer for anybody about our Dixie State game or the upcoming Southwest Baptist game? Boulevard, Missouri. Or Missouri, I guess, if you're from down there, right? Am I saying that right, Joel? Bolivar. There you go. I wasn't. They got more D2s in Missouri than anywhere in America, I promise you. My God, no questions? I mean, you haven't peppered me all year long.
Coach, is that the shift? Was it a legal shift?
It's close. It's close. It really is. He starts a hair early, whether the ball snapped or not, so you can go either way with it. Yeah. I told the official it was. He didn't listen to me, but yeah.
See what, you were looking strong going into the second half. What do you think happened? You guys need some more endurance? You want to go send them with the run?
I'm telling you, I'm in. Let's go and take them on 7,700 feet this offseason. Let's get it on. I'm all in on that, Tyler. So you're going to lead the charge, and let's roll. Wherever you took them, Steve, we're out here in the hills at 6,100 feet. We'll get them up there this offseason. We'll get that going. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again for coming out. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming, folks. I was happened to be listening to the game on the radio and their coverage, and I was listening to it on my iPad at the kitchen table, and all of a sudden, their guy's making the call. McKinney tosses behind the line to so-and-so, and then there was like silence. But for me, it felt like, an eternity, and all of a sudden they said, touchdown, South Dakota. Trick play, and then they went in to explain it all, but there was like 2 or 3 seconds worth of silence. It was, and I was like, what happened? We ended up on top. So, hey, thanks for coming. I'd like to thank Paulie's for sponsoring today's lunch. And we'll look to see all of you on Saturday at Salute to Services, 1 o'clock. Remember, tailgating opens up at 11 o'clock on the ramps, and we'll see you Saturday. Thank you very much.